When I was really young, I didn't think that I liked to read. But once I discovered spiritual books, I discovered that, it wasn't about me not wanting to read. It was the topic that I didn't want to read. I wasn't interested in the topic. I think it was history or whatever all of those things are. I've never really been interested in that. I've been very interested in history, but it was very obvious to me that whoever wrote the history books would be the story that we're hearing, like the angle of the story. It's not going to be the full picture. Didn't really buy it. I just barely got by those subjects because I didn't really believe in that. I almost like, I hear that you're trying to tell me something. So there's always been this knowing in me that I know I've always followed something that I've felt, something that is beyond what people are talking about, like this deep knowing. I also grew up in this world of fighting and surviving and trying to get ahead and like dealing with all of those energies. If you're on this planet, it's impossible to avoid. You can't avoid it. Like, you have to experience these things. This is how we master our energy. In all my relationships, I have also battled with these energy dynamics. These, oh no, it's your fault, or it's my fault, or now you're doing this. So the last 5 years, I have been through intense initiation. I feel like my whole life have been preparing me for this moment. What I've done with my relationships, because I don't believe that I'm battling with people. It's not that person. It is an energy that I've been battling all the way from when I was a child. And I believe that that is what we all came in to battle, some form of energy. And that's the meta, like our soul came in here not fighting, but just being able to deal with a certain type of energy, a certain type of thing that you're here to conquer, let's say. Conquer meaning not in fight, but in comprehension, understanding, and acceptance. That's what I mean by conquer. We have more or less people that are mirroring us. The opposite end, that's like whatever you are not embodying, the other person will reflect that in pure energy. Like, this is not something that necessarily is easily translatable, because you're seeing the mirror of what's actually going on energetically from human to human. That's what all of us can feel. And that's what I'm really good at reading and translating. I didn't know that this was an intuitive gift. I thought everyone could do this. But I've realized that this is my intuitive gift, that I'm able to feel people and guide them towards their highest expression of themselves as souls into the body. That's what I specialize in. My system is expert at pointing that out, whatever is not in harmony with that. That's what I'm here to do as a soul. But my story was a lot of suffering on the human level. It was a lot of suffering. A lot of narcissistic, what am I trying to say? Psychological. It was a lot of mind tricks and a lot of very strange dynamics. And I was very confused. And I doubted my whole reality. I started doubting everything. And I see now that that was a gift. My mind needed to be completely shattered, because that's what destroying the ego was all about for me. Everything was just I didn't trust anything outside of me, in order for God to show me that everything you have is within. That was what he was trying to tell me all this time. And so what I've been through is actually huge. This accomplishment, to make that switch, and so what that did was that it harmonized me and connected me with my body to such an extent that my soul landed. One of the things that I got into in my study was A Course in Miracles. One of the channelers that I was working with, I was I was a marketer and computer automation person. I was doing marketing automation for larger corporations by day, let's say, and by night I was helping channelers grow their YouTube channel. And I was so fascinated with channeling, and I was helping them bring through lots of higher frequency. I realized that these corporations, these large corporations, maybe I'm telling the story a little bit backwards now, but these large corporations, one of the times that I was there, I was in the greatest bank of that country because I was traveling around the world. And we were talking about marketing and the option to opt out. This is a couple of years ago, so the rules were not as strict then as it is now. But back then, it was still a no-brainer that you had to give people a way to remove yourself from the service. That was still very present even then. And so I came to this bank and they said, and when we talked about SMS marketing, we just basically asked, so how can a customer opt out? Because that's just regular practice back then. They basically said, no, they would have to get a new phone. And they laughed. And I could feel that they meant it. And that just shook me a little bit, like, what? How can they? It was just the principle of it. Like, how can they just not care about people? I started questioning. And this was also probably the same time as I had acid reflux. I feel like I'm telling too many stories at once right now. Let's just go with it. This is where we're heading. I had acid reflux to such an extent that I would hallucinate. And when I read about acid reflux, it was apparently there are a few categories of severity of how strong it is. And the top one was actually hallucination. And I realized that, wow, the thing is, like, we're not taught what something should feel. So I thought when I had this acid reflux feeling, I thought that I was hungry because it seemed to go away when I was eating food. And so that's a perfectly logical explanation. But we're not taught our bodies. We're not taught to feel. We're not taught what things mean. Because we grew up, at least I grew up, in survival, energetically. With the bank situation, I realized that I was part of the problem. I was feeding these dinosaur corporations to keep going the way that they're going. But obviously, I know that whatever I put my money into is what I will see grow. So if I'm putting my money into something that I'm really standing for, then I know that that will grow in my life. And so I knew that I couldn't stay. So I was like, God, what can I do? Like, how can I be of some help here? Because I don't feel like I'm benefiting anyone. And that's when I got shown to use your marketing skills to help someone that you feel deserves it. I was like, yeah, that's a really good idea. And so who? I didn't know who really supported the earth and life. Because I realized also that a lot of things were not as I thought it was. So the doctor, I was sort of happy. I mean, they had all sorts of tests. Like, I got in there and had to have a tube in to take a sample, and that was horrible. Having this tube go through your throat and like just let it just go in there and just roam around, feeling like there's something in your belly. It's not a pleasant feeling. And I also had to experience having this tube in the nose and down this measurement device, basically just to measure where my acid was for 24 hours. There were a few tablets that they suggested right away. And one of them, I got sick to my stomach, even worse than the acid reflux, because of all the side effects. And it was like vomiting, nauseous, and I was reading this, and I'm like, I tried them twice, and I was like, no way. Like, I don't want to destroy my body, because I could feel what it was doing to me. I could feel all the vibrations, because I was very sensitive. I came in knowing a lot, like feeling a lot. I didn't know that that was special. I didn't know that, I mean, I saw people were just doing whatever to their bodies, but I just thought that they were tough. That's what it's being sold as. Oh yeah, you're tough now. And that's being desensitized out of your body. That doesn't work. So these other pills, they were definitely not it. So I was already looking for alternatives, because I realized that, okay, these are just temporary until, you know what I thought? I thought the doctors would tell me what I should eat, because they were put up this pedestal frequency-wise from everywhere around me. They knew what they were talking about. And so I had them all on the pedestal. I was so excited because I got to hear the response, and it took over a year. And by that time, I found a replacement tablet that was just going on top and just covering up. So I sometimes I took 5 just to make sure that I felt better. And I did that all the time. And so that was my replacement. That was something that pregnant women could take. It was safe for that. And so if it's safe for pregnancy, like this is the logic that I don't get. You have something that is safe for pregnant women, and then you have something that is not safe for pregnant women, but then other people consume it. Is that supposed to be safe then? Why on earth would you put it into your body? Like, that's what I'm sitting with now. I didn't realize this back then, but like what? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. So that's just natural energy because of what I feel the reality is. So I already had a replacement. So I got this answer, and the answer from the doctors was, yes, you have acid reflux. Good, we knew this already. And then here, instead of 100 milligrams, you will get 200 milligrams on prescription of this substance that made you worse. That was their solution. My whole foundation shackled again. And these are these moments that life has shown me that things are not as it seems. And so that was the start of me getting interested in other energy, healing, and things like that. I had all this interest from that time because I experienced so many different things, like a person being a healer, just standing there going, okay, I'm gonna do some healing here. Like, yeah, sure. And I was sitting there with acid reflux. And in a matter of 2 minutes, the acid reflux was gone. I could feel a light inside of my belly, rising up, and then out. And then it was gone. And I had no other conclusion than to know that there's something to do with what this person was doing. And since then, I was just like, I needed to know more. Like, what is this? Because I could feel the accuracy of this. That I can tune in to another person's body to feel exactly what they're going through. I don't know if this is something that everyone can develop, or if this is just my makeup energetically. Because I know that in human design, I'm a projector. So that means that, especially generators, if you're into this kind of things, I can help generators a lot, generating their light on the planet, basically getting people into their soul mission. I mean, it's perfect. It makes perfect sense to me, because this is all what I'm for. I can feel when someone is misaligned. I know as they're speaking, I can hear when there's resonance and when there is not.